Well, good morning. It's your Geek Show. I'm Miss Shannon here with my friends Jayden Satia and Rob Callahan, and we have our guest geek today. We're going to get around to introducing him in a few minutes.
I have some questions for him.
Oh, yeah. Because our guest geek, I think that normally people presume that we're going to have people that only have a very specific geek thing. But no, what we're going to do is we're like, no, we want to talk about other things like sports, and we want to talk about things today like politics. We're going to talk about politics.
We do?
Yes, that's why
Rob,
I invited.
do we?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to get into politics?
Yeah, my drunk uncle's not here to argue, so why not?
And I think normally we would do our Geek of the Week stories, but we might as well introduce our guest first this time so he can just chime in on. So I have known this man for a while. He's a very funny stand-up comedian. He is a AM radio host. He has 2 shows out there, and his name is Robert Burrell. And so he is my friend who is too smart to hang out with me, but still continues to do so.
That's not true.
Well, I brought you something.
True.
Here, look, Robert. I brought
What
you
was
something.
that? What was that music? Oh, that's yep.
See, I got you a theme song. That's your little political walk-up.
I like that.
You use that on your comedy shows?
I should absolutely.
See, there's a little breakdown there. Mm-hmm. I think you should do that when we go. And now Robert Burrell and be no.
I like that. When would I do that on the radio show? Or like when
just when you enter a room
at the open mic in New Hope,
yes,
just have them play that.
Anytime you walk up and they say your name. Mm-hmm. That's what happens. Is that's your walk-up music, like if you were a baseball player.
Yeah, I
think. If you're summoned to court, you can play this music as a call their name.
Absolutely, yeah.
Take a speaker with you everywhere you go.
I am innocent of all those charges of soliciting a prostitute. Hit it.
So, the first story we'll do the lightest story first. So, normally, I think that one of my least favorite Hollywood celebrity kids is Jaden Smith, so the younger son of Will Smith, because he's really just pensive and annoying most of the time. But now it finds out that he has a really good Batman costume that he has been wearing to things like celebrity weddings, and most recently he wore it to his prom. And I think
his prom?
It was his prom.
Okay.
Him and his girlfriend
right.
went to prom.
How old is he?
How old is he now? He's like,
I thought it was his junior prom, maybe.
Yeah.
So he's a junior, probably.
Yeah. And so it's this white Batman costume that he just pops up in all the time. And the pictures are awesome because at the beginning it looks like, oh yeah, you know what? He's got a regular old coat on and everything's fine. And then as you pull back, he's wearing the Batman. And then there's all these pictures of him at prom. And I figure if you're going to be a geek like that, go all in. So now I think that he's a lot less annoying. I'm a big fan of that. So, I mean, your prom, did you have like a specific, did you go to prom?
I did not go to prom.
Okay.
I went to a second chance prom, which was like when I was with the radio station KWB, they had those concerts or whatever, so I saw Lionel Richie there. But I did not go to my actual prom.
Okay.
I was just that kid.
I didn't go to prom when I was in high school at all, but when I was in my early 20s, I was invited to go to a prom with a stripper. And I
Wait, what?
What, huh?
Yeah, and I would have gone. Like I thought that would have been great to not only get to go to prom after all, but get to be the guy who went with an exotic dancer. But my girlfriend wouldn't
Wait,
let
to
me.
who's
Which
prom,
one?
though?
You're still in school.
prom?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you just go to prom, Rob. Someone's
to buy a
got
ticket
just
to
got to
a
be
prom.
going to that
Was a
school.
stripper just walking by and said, "There's a prom tonight. Would you like to attend?" I mean, who went to the school?
Oh, the stripper went to the school. I didn't go. You can be 18 and still be in high school. It happens.
Okay, how was the prom?
So
I didn't go. My girlfriend wouldn't let me go.
that seems totally justified. I mean, if you have,
It'd be like getting asked to go to the prom with Winona Ryder. How do you turn that down?
yeah,
and
it is
are
not
you
like
with
that at all. I don't
girlfriend
think so.
now?
No.
See,
I should have just
you should
preemptively
have just
said,
gone to the prom with the stripper.
Absolutely.
I'm
This
going
is
to
a
prom
life
with
choice I'm going to make right now.
they say if you love something, set it free to go to prom with an 18-year-old stripper. And if it comes back, then
Which
we're
it is
meant to
not
be.
going to do.
And if I don't come back, just don't get
Call
up
the
in my
police.
grill or ask me questions or anything like that. Like
So,
just,
Burrell, did you go
Well, part terms.
to prom?
I went to prom as a senior. Yeah.
Okay. Did you have an epic Batman costume that you wore to prom?
No.
was it a Bruce Wayne costume?
Maybe Peter Parker, I suppose. Like not Spider-Man, but just Peter Parker.
How about you, Shannon?
I did not go to prom
Okay.
either year. So the first year I just didn't go. And then the second year I could have gone, but it was the same year as we made it to national mock trial championships, and I was the captain of the mock trial team. So we went to
So you
New
opted
Orleans
to be
instead.
smart.
Yes. And my boyfriend at the time, who was also on the mock trial team, was pissed. And he wanted us to stay and go to prom. And I said no. And so clearly
What would he have worn? What kind of personality was he?
He was kind of jockish, so he probably would have worn. He would have been. He
would have been the
he would have been the one that
tux
I had my tux
right.
on and I wore. He would have and he would have done something like a little bit weird, like maybe ever wore a cummerbund, just because you didn't need one, but he would have worn one.
I definitely give it up for Jaden though. Jaden Smith. I mean, that's expressing who you are, and I think he, like you said, I think he's he's a geek.
Yeah.
He lives with two flamboyant actors. His sister is a rapper.
Yeah,
singer.
I will call her a rapper. She had that "Whip Your Hair Back and Forth"
Right,
song,
which is
so,
pretty popular.
Yes.
that was her?
Mhm. Yes.
No one whipped their hair before her.
And then she
She
shaved it. No?
she
shaved
really
it.
broke some hair
Pioneered
whipping
there.
barriers.
I want to go back
Yeah.
to this mock trial thing. Like, what kind of student organization schedules their big national event during prom season?
To be fair, Rob, I can't imagine a lot of people that excel at mock trial are
We
gonna
weren't
have
worried
to forego
about it,
going
no.
to prom.
But this is the thing. Like, if you're in mock trial, like, life is already hard enough on you. You shouldn't have to miss prom
Yeah.
as well.
That's true. If you,
I thought it was a great opportunity. We had a fantastic.
Did you guys
time.
win, or was that a competition?
We came
or?
in third place. We were
So
in
it was worth
nationals.
it.
Yeah, yes, and we got a trip to New Orleans. I mean, I felt like that beat prom.
Wasn't it during Mardi Gras too? Then in March, April,
Well,
isn't that when the
but we were in high school, so I couldn't really participate in most of the debauchery anyway. So we had our high school version
couldn't
of
you have
debauchery.
talked your way into it, Miss Mock Trial?
We probably
Just
could.
go to-
Little
you would've-
briefcase and
well
pantsuit.
take a page out of Rob's book, get a stripper
That's
to get you
what we
into
should've
anything.
done. Yeah. So I'm trying to remember. Like it was. I was actually like I was so mad at my boyfriend at the time. I was just like, why are you upset? Like it's just prom, and he's like, it was a big fight.
I like the idea of you guys like arguing like lawyers after a mock trial about whether or not to go to the mock trial
Right.
thing, and you're just better than him because you were the captain, so you obviously won, and you guys didn't go to prom.
And I think part of the reason, this is part of that reason why he was so upset about it, is because I was a senior and he was a sophomore. So he would he wanted to go
Younger
show off.
man.
Yes. So he wanted to go show off because
You're going there with an older girl. That's,
Yes.
that's like a stripper almost.
And we're back to the stripper.
I don't think I don't get to compete with the stripper. If he showed up with a stripper, I think he still would have won.
Yeah.
Is what it is. So it's not like, senior girl or nah.
But
Well, he
strippers
got-
aren't going to go looking for 10th graders to go to prom with. They want the 22, 23-year-olds.
I wasn't necessarily looking for a 10th grader either. I was just like, oh, look, someone asked me out. Yes. Okay.
Wait. He couldn't go to the prom on his own, and then he asked you out as if he was bringing you?
No. We were dating beforehand.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And then the fact that I didn't care about prom, really, he was just incensed about the
Is
whole
prom
situation.
still important?
I think
I'm
so.
just-
I've
that's a general
seen.
question.
Not as
I
much
don't
as
know.
mock trial. Do kids sleep together after mock trial? Like after you win the big fake case?
You have
know,
the
cuddle
tension to
up.
release that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
There.
we got along. Everything was fine. We had a good party. We managed. To me, if I had to, maybe that's just because I've always been a big giant geek like this. I thought being able to go on a trip to New Orleans was a much better deal.
Get a free
than-
trip to
right,
New Orleans?
kind
Yeah,
of thing.
I'd take that any day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So we, hung out and we partied, kind of thing. We did some underage drinking up and down, and it was fine. That's what you're supposed to do at prom anyway, and we had to go there. So
Well, and he had other opportunities, right? As a sophomore, the next 2 years he could go with other
that's
people.
fine.
Yeah.
I don't because I went away to college, so I don't remember if he went. I didn't.
I'm sure
care.
he did.
I'm sure.
Was it
fine.
Or he was so crushed by that initial
I
experience.
ruined it for him.
Wait, isn't Will Smith a Scientologist?
They keep saying they're not.
Right.
They repeatedly.
They're
How
denying
many
it.
times do they have to deny it, though? That's, maybe Jaden wearing that Batman costume is just his way of trying to keep himself protected from the Church of Scientology.
He's like, he's warding off evil.
Yeah.
is what he's doing.
Props to Jaden.
Yeah. So there's and another Batman story. So our Jayden, not Jaden. So Jayden, we were talking about the Batman Kid trailer that just was released.
Yeah,
correct?
so a film that it's a documentary. It's called Bat Kid. It's about the kid Miles Scott who was honored by the city of San Francisco because his favorite superhero, favorite person of all time was Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And as a city kind of pulled together for him, he was dealing with some sort of cancer at the time. I think he's doing well. I think. But they documented the whole thing, and the city got behind it, and every single law enforcement in the city got behind it, and they shut down streets, and there were like flyovers. They actually had I believe they had a high-end Lamborghini dressed up as a Batmobile for him. They had professional actors who he saved, which was just amazing. So they actually documented it, and the actually documentary is coming out on June 26th.
And you're going to screen that possibly at the film fest. You're looking at it.
No,
or,
I got a early screener of it, so
Okay.
I've watched it, and it's just beautiful. And it's one of those heartwarming tales, and you tear up because cities are banding together for this one little kid, and so it gives you hope, like there's good in the world. And as I have you sitting here, Mr. Burrell, how
he just looked shocked.
yeah.
Like, wow. Such
I want to get
respect.
into more of that politics of it. Like when the mayor decides to do something like that, they give him.
He's probably a Democrat. Let's spend taxpayer dollars to have fake Batman do a fake case. No Republicans. Just get him a movie. Get him a DVD. We're not going to spend money on that.
So how does a mayor, for example, even go around to other agencies to be like, look, we're going to do this.
I think you
get
open with
approval.
the sick kid. I think you got to open with him. Maybe bring the kid along with you. He coughs a little bit. Like,
So it's just a
say no? Come
bipartisan
on.
kind of.
Oh yeah, I think it's bipartisan. Yeah.
Because how can you turn on the sick kid?
Right.
Because I shouldn't say that because lots of people do.
Yeah, but now we're like the sick kid's right in front of you. Like
Fair
the
enough.
trick is to just like keep the sick kids in
Within
like their
armed
own
systems.
little like city that you don't really have to deal with. And,
Yeah.
then it's a tragedy if something happens. But I didn't know it was that bad.
Well, they actually are making a narrative out of it as well. Julia Roberts is attached to producing it and starring in it, so they're actually going to make a film out of this particular.
She's
Awesome
starring
event.
in it.
Wait,
She
who is she
will
playing?
also
Yeah.
probably the mother. I'm assuming the mother. They haven't released like actual details around it, but they're in pre-production right now.
I just am, and part of the reason, whenever I think politics is something that I should pay attention to, and I just don't. So that's why I always go, Robert, tell me when I should pay attention to this. Kind of like, when do I have to start paying attention to Iowa? Why are they so important? When do I have to, like, it right now there's so many candidates. It's like watching Dancing with the Stars, and I really only start paying attention when we get down to like 5. So they're like, how do you?
But the really entertaining ones are already gone by that point.
But
when we've got down to
is
5.
that is that your opinion too? I mean,
Dancing with the Stars?
No,
I really don't watch the
political
show all
scene.
that much.
Like, how do you keep all of this stuff in your brain? And like, what are you looking
I
as far
don't.
as?
I don't retain. I really don't. I have a terrible memory. So I think that also is what fuels me to just
Okay.
like continue to read because I'm like, I should retain some of this stuff.
Because it seems like a worthwhile thing to be a geek about. Like, at least you go,
It
okay,
is,
it's useful.
but it's also very depressing.
Oh,
because there's
yeah.
so few news stories, which is why I'm glad that this is like a documentary thing, and I hope a lot of people see it because like there is some good in the world, but like there's a lot of money to be made just by perpetuating like fear and intolerance and stuff like that, especially if your news show is sponsored by pharmaceutical industries and antidepressants and things like that, which makes
Keep
sense. 'Cause
everybody
It's like
sad.
everything's sad. Take this pill. More sadness. More pills. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just there's some people that like to tune out and then just like ignorance is bliss kind of a thing. Like, well, as long as I'm not constantly reading about how messed up the world is, I'll still feel better because there is some good aspects to humanity and good stories, and I'll just pursue those. And I'm much more of like this kind of this masochist, this intellectual masochist. We're like, no, I want to hear about how bad things are, and then I get sad and depressed. But then it's not good.
I have a question. When towards the end of the race, when everybody's like, well, we have 30% who are Democrats, 40% who are Republicans, then there are these 10, 20% of the independents, people who just haven't made up their minds. Are those independents always the same group of people, or are they kind of fluctuating between some Democrats who are fed up with stuff, some Republicans who are fed up with stuff? Like, what's the trend, or like, how do I... Like, I don't identify myself as an independent. I kind of know what I like, and I kind of know.
Well, that's the thing too.
decisions.
Is like I think, and it's my theory. I obviously don't know, but I can't imagine.
But
that,
for our case, what you say is now gospel because you're
well,
you're,
that's dangerous. That is
Exactly.
very dangerous. Although it's also made up, so
Yeah.
not entirely an inaccurate label. Yeah, I think to me, like most of the independents that I know already usually lean right or lean left, but they just don't like the label Democrat or Republican. So it's like unless an incredibly incompetent Republican or a really just like a sellout corporate Democrat or something is running, they're like, I'm probably going to go with them anyway. But for some reason, being an independent makes you sound like you have more like intellectual integrity or you're more open-minded than someone that has party allegiance. So they're not going to claim that label. But in my experience, in most instances, like they're a conservative or they're a liberal. They just don't want to use that label.
Fair
So
enough.
it's like hipster. You just don't want to say it.
Yeah,
You know,
the
kind of thing.
hipsters of.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean you're voting for him?
Yeah.
All right, so I made a game, and because we were talking about this last week when I announced that you were going to be on the show. So we we're talking about Doctor Who, and we like, you know what? He has a lot of historical references. They have a lot of historical references that come up in the show. And so I created a little game, and so you, Jaden and Callahan, you guys can play along the way. So I think we could have a rousing round of Who or History. So I have 3 events that occurred or did not occur, and you can tell me whether it happened in a Doctor Who episode or if it is actually a historic event. You guys ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, all right.
Hang on,
Here-
can I get my theme music again
Oh, you want
to
the
like
theme again?
get
Yes.
Get you psyched.
get me psyched. That's okay. All right, there it is. Yep.
Close your eyes. This is you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Shake it out.
I feel like I'm just inviting assassination. Like coming out to that, like I would be disappointed if
come
someone
out.
didn't take a shot at me.
I think that would be the best. And then the ticker tape parade starts
Yeah.
and everybody, you know, you can have a car that actually like is on like jumps when you come out. That's like,
And you should do all of that. You should like throw your own ticker tape up. You should just read out your own call.
I'll have my own actor that plays Batman like to come out and like dance with me.
that would be cool. Like all your Secret Service agents can dress up like Batman in Batman costumes.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Like
I
a
like how it
superhero,
would
like the Avengers are like your your bodyguards.
He's like, no.
No, I would like that.
why
that'd
hasn't
be
that
awesome.
been done in the comics yet? Why did every time the president shows up in a comic book, he's got regular humans as
He
his
should
Secret
have
Service.
his
That
own
is a very good
superheroes.
point.
He should have cyborgs and aliens
Yeah.
protecting him from the other cyborgs and aliens.
Fair enough.
But then
We should
again, like
start
I
an
mean, if
online
you have
petition.
superpowers and stuff, like you're really going to subject yourself to like a government job where you're listening to like some tool telling you what to do, and
They do it periodically, just not like.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
yeah,
Some of the,
I suppose.
some of the people in Shield have superpowers.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's a good question then.
I mean, I wouldn't expect Superman to do it.
No,
No.
But, you know, you don't really want him anyway.
No.
He'd be a big buzzkill, too.
What? He just
He's a buzzkill.
just stand in the corner and brood if things don't go right.
Eh.
Like he's not as good at brooding as Batman, but he can brood. I've seen it in movies. Not
that just gives Batman one more thing to brood about. Like, Superman's brooding now too. Brooding isn't even my thing anymore. And Superman's like, he's so good at brooding.
All right, so my game now. Who or history? So the first one, okay, you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
April 8th, 1969, then President Richard Nixon and his advisor, Canton, Delaware, decided to accept outside aid after receiving a series of phone calls from a young girl asking for help. Who or history?
Do we each answer separately?
Yes.
I want to go last.
Okay. You always want to go last.
Makes me sound better.
Yeah.
I'll go history.
History. All right.
Sure.
Jayden thinks that is history.
I'll say history.
Okay. Mr. Beryl thinks that is history. And Callahan, you?
That was the 10th Doctor and River and Rory and Amy.
Ah, well played. Yes, that is Who. That happened in Doctor Who episode 214A, The Impossible Astronaut, and that's actually the 11th Doctor, just so you know, Dr. Smith.
So we're brooding right now.
Matt Smith, yes. So you're brooding now. So, all right. So 1 to Rob Callahan.
I just failed at being Rob Callahan. Remember,
Having an identity
All right.
crisis.
In our question 2, in Who or History? On October 5th, 1858, John Wilkes Booth, the man who would later assassinate President Abraham Lincoln, played the part of Horatio in Hamlet, with his older brother Edwin having the title role. Is that Who or History?
I think I've heard that before. I'll say history.
Okay, and Jayden?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the smart guy in the room.
I don't.
You
History.
got the last one wrong.
Well, I've never seen Doctor Who, so I don't.
I will allow Jayden to go with the smart guy in the room and say history.
That is correct. That is actually history. He played in, John Wilkes Booth was in 83 plays
Wow.
in 1858. And it was said that he, that of all the Shakespearean characters he played, he was most fond of playing Brutus.
Was
Is
he
what
in
it said.
83 different plays?
Yeah, it says
Or
he
83
performed in,
performances.
it says he performed in 83 plays. So I'm presuming that was 83.
Some of those had to be
performances.
improv.
Yeah. I gotta think.
The
So I'm
definition of
presuming
play back then
Correct.
was pretty broad.
Yes, but it sounds like he was fantastic as an American stage actor and a terrible person. All right, our third and final question. You guys ready? A few weeks prior to committing suicide at the age of 37, renowned painter Vincent van Gogh completed one of his most famous works, a vase with 12 sunflowers, bearing the inscription "For Amy." Is that who or history?
I'll go who.
Yeah, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go.
ahead.
I'll do who.
Okay.
I haven't said it yet, so I'll say that's the episode of Doctor Who.
It is. It's Vincent and the Doctor.
Yes,
With the
thank you.
11th Doctor
Yeah.
and Amy.
I hate to fact check you, but you are correct. Yes, everyone is correct. That is a Doctor Who episode. So see, now this is this is what I think. We've proved that maybe you should watch a little more Doctor Who. It'll put some whimsy in your life.
You get
Robert,
to see
how
how
is that
you get to
different?
see how Doctor Who killed the dinosaurs.
Yes.
Oh,
There's a lot of historical
nice.
figures in it. It's almost like watching The West Wing. I know you're a fan of The West Wing. We can help you out.
wait. How is that? So how is that not historically accurate? Did he not do it for Amy in real life?
No,
'Cause
he did not in real
Oh,
life.
okay.
Amy Pond was one of the main characters, and so the description does not
Oh, I
actually
see.
occur in the film. He's like, why do I hang out with these geeks?
No, that's
I love it. I think we should play this game more often.
We should.
Yeah.
I can help you compile questions.
Yes. Will you do that next time?
Yeah.
Yes. Cool. We could do that. And next time we could pick a different show.
Or a
Like-
different Doctor.
Yes.
You say your West Wing was one of your favorite political.
yeah. I've watched
Fiction
yeah,
shows?
Yeah, I'm working my way through it amongst other shows.
What are the other ones like? So House of Cards.
House of Cards, Veep. I actually really liked Spin City a long time ago when that was on, and I was in like middle school or whatever, and I really liked it. I'm like, city government's funny, and then that's why.
So then
it's
Parks
a
and Rec is
surprise that I
awesome
went to
to you
prom.
then?
Huh?
Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah, I like Parks and Rec too.
So now, are you more in tune with, I guess, local versus federal, like politics?
No,
like
no.
which
I'm
one do you
much
prefer?
more
or-
interested in national politics,
Okay.
international politics. Local politics is important, but it's so boring.
It seems like it's boring until it's not. Because last week here locally, they had all that footage of them like trying to get all those bill
The last second votes in. There was
votes
like a-
in, and so
Yeah, well,
then it was chaos, and it made me very sad. Like I'm like, that's what you do, just throw it in there at the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, like in some instances when it's like gay marriage and something like that, then it's much more exciting.
Or
Or like a lot of
snowbanks.
it's just like property taxes and things like, which yes, I know it's important, but not the highest thing on my priority list. Although I will say that the Minnesota House of Representatives, like any clips you can have, because they like shout at each other, they get wild, they interrupt each other. Like in the Senate, they actually have a rule where the senators can't look each other in the eye. Like the speaker, you don't look anyone in the eye. 'Cause
That's
it's
a
supposed
written
to be
rule?
Like, yes, it's a written rule. So it's like deference to like avoid conflict and stuff. And so you just have to.
Where do you
pretend that,
look?
Like, I don't know. Anywhere you look at the ceiling, you're like,
Is that a Minnesota specific
work
rule?
on there? I think some other senates have it. I know for sure it's in Minnesota.
So
But
this
I
is,
don't think it's like
this is
a
the ultimate
federal
passive
thing.
aggressive Minnesota. I want to say
I think
something,
part of
but
it's
I
just
don't.
like to distinguish themselves from the House, because they just like shout at each other, they interrupt.
the House like
it's
more like the
rowdy.
Parliament.
I
Yeah.
feel like they were like, you know what, it worked for Prince. Nobody look at me. Just don't look me in
Yeah,
the face.
absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah. hmm Senator from Bemidji's looking at me. Like, okay, all right, sorry. Sorry. Like, oh, you narc.
So what else in national politics are you paying attention to now? Or is it, or what's your big story that you're interested in right now?
Well, and again, it's nothing sexy. It's not a gay marriage thing or anything like that. But it's the Trans-Pacific Partnership right now is this big trade deal that Obama's negotiating with a bunch of Pacific countries, and it's basically a corporate treaty, essentially, because the legislation isn't being written by any member of Congress. It's just these representatives of these multinational corporations who then say, well, here, you're going to have to pass this now. And the senators, the representatives, anyone who sees it is not allowed to talk about it. And Obama's basically just saying, oh, trust me. Like, trust me, it's going to be okay. Elizabeth Warren's wrong. She's wrong on the specifics. And then you cut to Elizabeth Warren, who's like, I'm not allowed to see the specifics. So tell me I'm wrong then. Point it out to me, because I see a lot of flaws in this. There's nothing to ensure that labor rights are upheld, and corporations will actually be allowed to bring lawsuits against individual nations for any like loss of profits.
Right.
So, for instance, let's say that there's a minimum wage law that wants to be passed in like Venezuela or even America. Then a large corporation can just be like, well, we're going to lose money off that. So we're entitled, and the taxpayers in this, because it is an actual lawsuit. It's just a panel of trade representatives. So it's not like a judge that was voted on by constituents. There's just this trade panel of lawyers who are obviously going to go, well, yeah, they owe that money. So the
they
taxpayer
just pick
money.
these guys.
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely. They're
So
appointed.
lawyers work
It's
for the
not elected.
corporations.
Yeah. And so it's a really dangerous thing. And obviously, I think there was a study that said like 20 million jobs were lost after NAFTA was signed, that trade agreement. And so it's obviously very harmful and damaging.
So at what
for
stage
workers
is
and
that now?
American jobs.
This particular.
The Senate has
legislation.
voted to give him fast track authority, which means they just vote up or down. They don't get to include it. They don't get to add any amendments. If they are allowed to read, they're not allowed to talk about it. They just say, okay, Mr. President, go ahead. You do it. We trust you. Fortunately, I don't think he has enough votes in the House because Democrats can be much more liberal in the House because it's more gerrymandered districts. And there are some, and in this case, I'm actually grateful for them, House Republicans who are just so anti-Obama on everything that it doesn't matter. It's
Right.
like, I just want to give food to the hungry. Like, no, socialism. Like, we're not going to. So, like, no matter what it is, they're going to say no. So I doubt he has the votes in the House. At least I hope so. That's the way it looks. But as far as the Senate goes, they've already voted to give him authority.
Now, you started by saying that wasn't something very sexy, but it's something that's very important. So do you get frustrated?
It is very
that
important.
There's people who aren't like,
But
our
even
brain
if-
is so full with like, you know, the Duggar families and the Honey Boo Boo's mom's gonna sue TLC and all this stuff. And like everybody knows that, but nobody knows about this bill that's really important out there. Look.
Well, a
it's
few people know.
That's kind of,
Yeah.
but that's kind of how the news industry is set up.
I know.
To,
Well, yeah,
to
exactly.
get us focused on Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah. I mean, it's also an easier concept to grasp. Like, oh, she's dating a pedophile. Like, okay, I get. Whereas, like, you know, the intricacies of trade negotiation and how it's screwing people over. That's not as easy to a concept to grasp. I guess. But yeah, so that's something I'm
No one talks about it at the water cooler.
No.
No, probably not. Not even in Washington water coolers. They don't know what they're.
They probably talk
involved
about
in
Honey
it.
Boo Boo
Like,
also.
right. They're like, did you see
Yeah.
that she was gonna sue? So what's the next thing that we like? Okay, if I'm going to start paying attention to politics, what's my entry level in? You're saying, okay, what's the thing that I should know for sure? Like, what should I go? I mean, there's a lot. I mean, you're looking at me like, I know that's a difficult question. I understand what you're saying. But I mean, other than, hey, I'm supposed to vote for the president. What's the other thing that like people just overlook that they really should be paying attention to?
Well, there is a Congress. That's another branch. And you can also vote for those people. So I think that's important.
Right.
I think you just have to decide. Well, that wasn't me. That wasn't directed at you, Shannon. That was just like for like your people obsessed with the Duggar family or
what I
whatever.
mean.
And I feel it's important to point that out because like some of the statistics are just so alarming that the amount of people in this country that can't name the three branches of
Right.
government
Right.
or can't name either of their senators or know that there's a federal level and a state level
Right.
and that they're different, how laws even work, which again, I think the system isn't necessarily upset about because if people don't know what their rights are and don't know what their jobs are, then if their rights are being taken from them, you look at the NSA stuff, the warrantless wiretapping, the illegal spying. I think like a circuit or district court ruled in like with Snowden, like, yeah, this is illegal. If they don't know what their rights are, then they're not going to complain when they're taken from them. And if they don't know what the politicians' jobs are, like writing legislation and debating legislation, then they're not going to be upset when politicians are just outsourcing that to the corporations
Right.
that are funding their campaigns. And now when you have like Citizens United where you can donate unlimited amounts of money, then if you get one billionaire that likes you, even though no one else does, you can be in the race until the end. Which, I mean, there is a flip side, I suppose. Like if you have someone like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren and a billionaire is funding them, then they can get their message out there. But it's not exactly democratic when you have like 4 or 5 people that are contributing more money than everyone else combined.
So they get to make more of the decisions because they're the ones that are picking who they're.
Well, absolutely. I mean, from a politician standpoint, like whose opinion is going to matter more? Like the person who's almost single-handedly responsible for you having that job, or the 5 people, versus the everyday citizen. I mean, when those conflicts collide, like in a trade negotiation, a trade agreement, then they're obviously going to side with the person that's bankrolling them.
Well, I mean, I think, and Jayton's had to deal with this just from back to the local side of things, like trying to get different, things passed here so that you can get, what is it, a subsidy that you're looking for now, or tax breaks? Tax breaks for the
film industry. It's called Snowbank.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to get that point across to the legislators that we're lagging behind the state of Minnesota. As we gave. I think we were appropriated $10 million over 2 years, tax incentive. So the money has to be spent before we give any money back. And we're lagging behind states like Michigan and New Orleans, who have unlimited. Atlanta has an unlimited amount. California is raising theirs from 350 to, I want to say, 700 million because they want to get more productions down there. And the goal is to make more jobs, right? To keep the industry happening. And I think it was, I'm not sure where it is now. I think it might have gotten passed, but there was a whole debate about should that even be in existence? Like, should their tax break ever be in existence? So it's kind of hard to get that point across.
Yeah, I would think you could like find some sort of like bipartisan compromise on that because just the job creation and tax breaks.
I think the pushback was that all these jobs are temporary. Because as a production crew, you're going to work on this particular film that we're bringing in, and it's going to be a 2-month job. And then what? Then you don't have any other job until your next movie comes in, which is when. So that was the push.
If you can offer more tax incentives, then hopefully there would be other films that
exactly.
And
it's
especially
a snowball
like
effect.
given the arts culture in Minneapolis and the amount of like very talented artists in so many different fields, it's kind of a shame that more films aren't being shot here and filmed here. So yeah, that's true. I suppose I shouldn't have said that like most local politics dull me because I wasn't even aware that was a thing. And I'm
what I'm really interested in right now is the SRT.
You were paying attention to Honey Boo Boo. That's why I did.
Yeah.
I was paying attention to
the Duggar
what is
family
she doing?
stuff.
What is she up to? What's the Boo Boo? What's the 411 on Boo Boo? What's she?
As we all look at Shannon.
Yeah.
What is going on right now is that so Honey Boo Boo's mom has come out vehemently opposing the fact that the 19 and Counting Duggar's TV show had continued once there were those child molestation allegations. And she said basically, you canceled my show right away, and that's much worse than what I did. And a lot of people now we have competing terrible people is what it is. It's like, so that, and some people are actually supporting her in the show right now. The 19 and Duggar, the 19 and Counting show is on hiatus now. And so people are saying, yes, good job, Honey Boo Boo's mom, for bringing it to light that we should put the show on hiatus. It's like, no.
I need to be caught up because I never actually watched the Honey Boo Boo show. I only know her as a meme. So what was her mom doing that was so bad?
Honey Boo Boo's mom, and this wasn't on the show. Honey Boo Boo's mom was dating a guy, or is dating a guy, who molested the kids and their cousin. And so when TLC found out that she was back with this guy, they canceled her show. Really quick.
Right. In a heartbeat.
And so now she's saying that, well, you canceled my show because I'm dating a guy who's a terrible person, and you didn't cancel his show that stars a guy who we've decided may be a terrible person. It is, yes, I know these things, and I have a lot of room in my brain for useless, stupid information like that. But because it has turned into, okay, now we're just seeing who can trump, inappropriate behavior with children. And I'm just disappointed in the Learning Channel anyway. Because remember, it used to be the Learning Channel. Now it's TLC. Just like didn't KFC used to be Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it's just KFC. So the fact that
But they at
the
least
Learning
still
Channel-
have chicken there. There's no learning left.
Now
on
it's the
Learning
learning
Channel.
of prior accusations channel.
Right,
That's the learning that's going on.
And there's just, the story is always one of those like disgusting onions that you end up peeling, where it's like the reason why a lot of these things got looked into is because the family supposed to be on Oprah a number of years ago, and
So
then
do
they
people
found
pay
out.
attention to these shows, like the Duggars and all that stuff, because they want to feel better about their lives?
I think people like watching train wrecks, honestly, is what it is. And so I don't think it makes you feel any better.
So,
It's that
politics
it's
is a huge train wreck.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but there's a lot of parts of politics that people don't pay attention until there's a salacious part of the story as well. And so we like to
Like
see
the email gate?
Yeah, we like to see something like that. We like to see a fall, one of our politicians fall from grace. We like to see those things. We're not sitting there going, are they doing good work, and then celebrating the fact that they might be doing good work and getting things done. So.
Do you see that trend though? Like the same thing she's talking about, like when something salacious is happening, that's when a lot of the
Well, yeah,
general
and then
public
it
come in
obfuscates the actual news, like the TPP, or the fact that like there still really isn't an effective strategy to deal with ISIS, who is like just taking over towns again, like it's no one's business. And the Iraqi army is just running away like the Stooges at the end of every little segment that they have. Leaving equipment, billions of dollars of equipment that we gave them. ISIS
Right.
is now like. So even if we aren't directly funding them, we're inadvertently just supplying them now because the Iraqi army is just bailing. Like that should be in the news more, not the Hillary Clinton emails or the Duggar stuff. And obviously, that's part of a capitalistic society. You get to choose your news sources,
Right.
and the ones that focus on just like dumb, superficial, trivial news, especially
Are the ones that are still
on
doing
train
well.
wrecks.
TMZs.
But that's true, because I think if people read news about like the ISIS thing, well, that's above my head. I don't know about that. They read about the TPP and they feel stupid. They feel uninformed. But if you follow the Duggar thing or the Honey Boo Boo thing, and like what you were saying, it's to feel better about themselves. Like, well, at least I got my stuff together. Like, it's not nearly as bad as that. So, and people want to feel better about themselves. And so I think that that's probably the news that more people pay attention to, because it's an easy, like, oh, okay, things are going well for me, but at least I'm not that. Also,
True.
I can't wait for Honey Boo Boo to go to prom dressed as the clown from Spawn. I think that's going to be fun for everybody.
From the movie or
And,
the comics?
I've only seen the movie. I don't.
Was the comic one different, like the costume?
No, it was about
It
the
was
same.
about
About
the
the same.
same. So either way, she's fine.
Is that a mandated costume? Like a mandated, like
Like you could take someone on a mandate? What?
no, it's like you have to wear certain. Like, does that mean like so? We're talking about superheroes earlier, like
Yes.
how everybody should have like the what do you call it? The president should have their own superheroes as they walk
Yes.
out. Is that
Every kid at prom should be dating the clown from
That would cut back on teen pregnancy, I would think. If
I'd go back to prom for that.
Yes. I went now. Now
I'd
I
go
feel
find
like I
somebody
missed
that
out.
can
Yeah. Now
somebody
I feel like I
invite me
missed
to a prom,
out.
please?
Don't say that out loud, because then you'll end up on one of those TMZ websites. 'cause-
Although I feel
No,
like the
I
fact
kid,
that
I kid.
like he's got really famous parents, like like Jaden, allows him to get away with going to prom as Batman. Because I feel like if the average kid just did that, then a lot of like, hey, we could beat up Batman. Like a lot of the jocks would be like, all right, let's see
Here's
what
our
kind
shot.
of skills this guy had. Yeah,
So if you're not Jaden Smith,
yeah.
be an actual ninja if you want to dress
Yes,
like that.
Yes.
exactly.
Yes. Everybody needs to prepare. Or bring at least some smoke bombs with you or something so you can get away.
Batarangs. You need
Batarangs.
batarangs.
Yeah.
Practice with your batarangs first, because they can go awry. You should do some practice
don't just
beforehand.
think you're going to toss them.
Yeah, it might
Be
They
the
don't
not.
last
do
day
the
at
work
school,
for
though.
you.
You might not graduate after that if you do that.
Yeah. Actually, let's not take any weapons to our proms.
We don't condone that by any means.
Let's just stop advising people altogether right now. We're going down a dark path.
Clearly, we don't give good advice. We think it's awesome, but you probably shouldn't take it. We'll
It would
try
be
one
awesome
day.
to see other people do.
Yes,
But to our listeners, don't be the ones to do it yourselves.
yes, we will watch it on YouTube. Yeah, if somebody else does it accidentally, but don't tell us that.
I just
we
tried to
suggested
back
it.
out of the be violent at prom argument, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I'm
it's too late.
stuck.
We already said it now.
Just don't.
Don't be violent in prom. See why we didn't go? It's probably a good thing that we didn't go.
Don't even look at your
we don't
date.
know
Be
how
that
to
passive
act.
aggressive. Look up on the wall or
Yeah,
something. Like,
yeah.
hi, can I have a
It's
dance?
like your senators at the prom.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mock trial.
Yeah.
Back to mock trial. I love that.
It was a fantastic junior and senior year in mock trial. That's how it went out very well for me. So
One thing I want to talk about is just get your quick opinion on the can controversy of like the heels.
yes.
Like yes or no? I mean, for women, like, do you when you're invited to a formal
Wait,
event?
we should bring because so Baril's
Yeah,
looking
catch
at us
people
like
up.
okay, so
Did you say can problem? What did you
Cannes
say?
Film Festival.
Can.
problem.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. I wasn't sure. what
Can
you-
Gate or Flatgate. Or
Flatgate,
whatever.
Okay.
they're calling now. So what it is that there is a dress code for their for the red carpet events that they have at the film festival. And so what happened is a number of women were
And Cannes
turned
being
away.
the biggest film festival in the world.
And so a number
dress
of
up like
women.
superheroes?
No, they do not. They should. But then they definitely wouldn't get
They're
sent
gonna
they're
after this.
yeah. And so a number of women were turned away for wearing flats and not having on heels. So now it's turned into this big deal because it was in Variety and all these other things. And some of the women obviously were, older or had.
They were
some
going to a
health
film
issues.
called Carol, which is about it's just a lesbian film.
Right. So it's all women in
Not
power.
to say that you have to wear flats and go to like it was more
You're
of
wearing
those
hiking
just-
boots.
formal wear. Yes, hiking boots.
So I mean, and there are a few stories popping up now where there are guys saying they turned me away too because I had on silver shoes or something like that, and they didn't. They said it didn't fit the dress code, but they turned these women away and told them go get some high heels or don't come back. And I think I am a fan of some. I like shoes. Don't get me wrong. I have a lot of high heels. I have a lot of inappropriate shoes that are not, that are fun. But saying that there's a dress code and that's what it is and it's not spelled out like that, then you don't get to turn people away. So
And
I
that's
thought
it.
that
That's
was
it.
something.
Like they said that
Yeah.
there's a dress code. It's just formal wear, but it specifically doesn't say women have to wear high heels or
Right.
men have to wear.
Yeah, it's not like they walked in there in like flip flops and shower shoes and they're sending.
No,
people
they were
away.
formally dressed.
Yeah.
Was this like one person stopping people at the door and saying your shoes aren't
There
right?
was a
or was it-
squad.
There,
was like
there was
a
like
squad.
multiple. They were
Was it a
stopped
fashion
multiple
squad?
times.
There was a fashion squad, and there were people that are spotters, and that was one of the things that I knew that I would see these red carpet images from the film festival, but I didn't know that was such a focus for it. I still thought. That it was focusing on the films that were there. I didn't know that they were only
Well, that's
making
what
it
it's
as
supposed to be, yeah.
I didn't know. But then when you start looking into it, they're saying no. And when you read into the policies, it is a lot of it's a spectacle and a fashion event and all these other things as well, not just
I mean,
about
why
the
is
film.
Kendall Jenner at the Cannes Film Festival?
Right. And so then I kind of was like disappointed because in my head I had a different expectation for it. And so I was like, oh, and the fact that it's not just a matter of you're trying to help me find these great works of, film that have been created and that'll be out there. It's more about did I wear the right shoes? Well, there's lots of events that are for that. So that's why I
And
thought
some
it
of these
kind
women actually had medical conditions.
Yes.
That's why they couldn't wear high heels.
And so they were like, well, you can come back when you have the right shoes. I'm like, wow.
What if you have a disability?
That's the whole point. Is that's some of these things came out. They had they didn't have a full.
You don't have the right wheelchair, you can't come in.
You don't have the right suit. You don't have the right this. So it is again just it took the eye off of it. Took
But aren't
the eye off
there-
what I thought that the goal of the Cannes Film Festival was supposed
which
to be.
is film,
Yeah.
independent film, and just celebrating film and celebrating filmmakers, right? So the filmmaker in this particular case for Carol is a woman.
Yes.
So like highlight her as opposed to now the entire thing is about how they were on their way to the premiere of Carol, but nothing about Carol, the movie.
Right.
It's all about these shoes.
And it also was poorly timed because the film festival was already being looked at for not highlighting enough female filmmakers.
Correct.
And so now not only are you not highlighting female filmmakers, you're making it so misogynistic again and focus more on the outward appearance and not what they're creating. And so that's why I think it's a black eye at a time where they already had a black eye on the film festival.
Are there formal flats that you could wear?
Oh, yes. Yes.
So
yes.
I'm sure they weren't like just ripped up jeans with like sneakers or whatnot.
Right,
I mean, they were
Yeah.
pretty nice.
They didn't come in there
flat
with some
wear.
Nikes, or anything like that. They were because there's
Rob,
visuals
Burrell,
out
do you
there.
have any heels that you wear to red carpet events?
I like to rock jorts a lot in the summer as part of my
You're gonna see how far you can go with that.
like my social suicide tour. No. Are there any, I'm curious, are there any restrictions on what the men can wear? Do they have...
There's a dress code in general, and so there have been some guys that chimed in that they said that their shoes were inappropriate for different reasons, like they weren't fashionable enough or they were too flashy, and so they were like, okay. So one of the other filmmakers that was there said that they didn't like his suit as like a very flamboyant outfit, so they did, after he talked to numerous people, allow him in, but then like sat him in the back, like shoved him, like hit him. Whereas like you can come in, but no one will see you here.
Wait! That's what they do when they don't want you there? Because I always get sat in the back at these things. Like I go to the Ivies and they sit
you in the back.
Just dressing too
I'm never in the
flamboyantly.
back. I'm never in the back. So
I have a local connection to Cannes.
Yeah.
One of the films that we premiered at the festival last year was a short film called Evergreen. They got invited to play at the Cannes Shorts program.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam Zolke, the director, and the lead actress from that are actually at Cannes, and they're sending tweets and Facebook
Nice.
stuff out on. They were on the red carpet, and
they didn't get kicked out.
they didn't get kicked out.
No.
They were very formally
Yeah.
dressed, and there's actually paparazzi like taking pictures of the lead actress. So it's very cool that we have a Minnesota connection. Actually, a couple of them that went out there.
So how was the problem that they weren't notified in advance that they weren't meeting the dress code? Like it was changed
Right. It
on
was
the
once
spot,
they got.
or-
Well,
It was never
once-
in writing, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not formalized where it says you have to wear high heels. It doesn't say that. It's like so they yes, everybody was dressed very well.
They could quote unquote be the posse of the actor or the actress, right? So they're just friends that got invited to walk the red carpet.
Mm-hmm.
They just weren't like they don't send out to every single 2,000 people that walk the red carpet. They send out to lead actors and actresses and the people who are going.
And I could just see that from a personal perspective, if you've gotten to the point that you can attend a festival like that, you know what you're getting into. But if you're a 60-year-old actress, why would you expect that you have to wear high heels if you have on appropriate footwear and there's these super?
And if you've quote unquote gotten away with
it's
it in
not
the
like
past, you
Michael
just wear
Kors
flat.
and all these other
Right.
people don't make super awesome clothes, so they were still fashionable. They were just flats, and so it's just another one of those. Wow, somebody just threw a wrench into something that I wasn't expecting. So it does look. I think it looks bad, and I wear heels all the time, but I still don't want you to like force me to. I'm like now out of protest, I have to not wear heels. I was like, oh, I didn't know that about the festival. Like I looked at it in a higher regard.
It's unfortunate that's what you now know about the festival, except for like a couple of the films that
Are they
coming
looking
out,
at
so.
reevaluating some of those
Probably
dress
not.
codes policies? Are they?
Nope, they're just probably saying this is what it is. This is our policy, and we're gonna have spotters. Now we'll have spotters everywhere. So
Yeah.
just beware.
And
Just
we'll
wear
still-
your heels.
And we'll still put Callahan in the back. So it's
Yeah,
not fun.
because my cane is too shabby. Is the thing. I need a better cane. Hashtag not all film fests, I think.
Yes.
Agreed. Yes.
You can wear flats to the
Or
Twin
flats
Cities.
matter. Hashtag flats matter.
flats all the way.
All right. So Robert, we can hear your. You have 2 shows now, right?
Yep.
So what's the best? So is the best way for us to go find you on the website and then listen to it, or what do you want? How do you want people to find you?
The best way for people, because then it was my mind went someplace else when you said that. No, the best way to find me is like I'm on Twitter and Facebook and stuff at Robert Brill 1, and then just Robert Brill on Facebook, and then my website's BrillComedy.com. I have all my dates on, which is really just the Minneapolis clubs, basically. I'm hoping to crack Michigan at some point. Dare to dream, and.
It's a great room.
The show.
You'd like it.
It is.
Michigan
It
is
is.
one room.
Yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
right now. So
They offer great incentives.
But it's in Detroit, so I think it is being repossessed. It might not actually be comedy anymore. There's no electricity. AM950.com, or no, AM950radio.com is where you can find podcasts of the shows that I do, Laughing Matters, where I interview comedians about news and current events, and then Pardon the Dissent, which I do with Joey Vincent. That's more like independent news and stuff that's probably not in the mainstream media. We talk about those kinds of things. And let's see, that's AM950radio.com. Then if you're in the Minneapolis area, just AM950 on Saturday nights at 7 is Laughing Matters, and Monday nights at 11 p.m. is Pardon the Dissent.
beautiful. All right. Well,
Yeah.
next week, I invited our friend Brandy Brown, who's a local comedian and very funny, to come on the show, and she has thus far refused to tell me what she thinks she wants to talk about because that's how
Heathcliff.
our friend.
That
she could
is
do
so
Heathcliff.
Brandy.
She wants to talk about
She could do
Heathcliff.
Heathcliff. She could do Care Bears. I mean, she's very well versed in a lot of things.
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She Wrote. She's a big fan of the Murder, She Wrote. And so she's like, no, I'll just wait till I get there. You guys can wait on me. And
She's
I'm
gonna
like,
feel it.
You could play a game called Murder She Wrote or Actual Murder.
well played.
Nice.
Yes. All right. I will do that next week. All right. Well done. Yeah. So we will hear from her next week, and we will as we get closer to more heated politics, we'll have to have you back on the show, Robert.
I would love to be back.
Yay. All right. So that's this week's Your Geek Show. Make sure you check out our friends, Custom T-Shirt Central, our good friend Chris McDuffie at Chris McDuffie Photography. And you can go to get ready for the Twin Cities Film Fest as Jayton is gearing up for this year's festival that comes up in October. So I'm Miss Shannon. Here's Jayton Satia and Robert Callahan, and we will see you next week.